Three offensive linemen landed on the 49ers' radar while Brock Purdy was shredding the starting defense and the backfield was losing bodies. That is not harmless August routine. It is a roster showing at the same time where it can crush opponents and where it could crack. Faithful, lock in. Today we're demanding answers from the people protecting the quarterback, revealing the rookie setting Raheem Morris's defense on fire, and measuring whether San Francisco has enough depth to carry its ambition. If you demand a team ready to attack the NFC, hit like and subscribe to 49ers Express. The 49ers brought in Doug Kramer, Joe Michalski, and Lecitus Smith for workouts. When three offensive linemen are evaluated at the same time, the message is direct. Nobody in Santa Clara can treat protection like a minor detail while injuries squeeze the rotation. The club just signed Kion Smith to a one-year deal, but it is still examining alternatives. This could simply be about building an emergency list. It could also lead to another signing if the available bodies do not respond quickly. Kramer was a sixth-round pick by the Chicago Bears in 2022, later spent time with the Cardinals and Seahawks, and has appeared in 18 NFL games. Lecitus Smith, another sixth-rounder from that draft, played 19 games for Arizona, New England, and Green Bay, making 4 starts. Michalski entered the league as an undrafted free agent with the Denver Broncos in 2025 and is still waiting for his first NFL appearance. There is no obvious savior in this group. There are different profiles being measured against a need that could stop being theoretical at any moment. Carver Willis, the rookie selected in the 4th round, suffered a concussion. Nick Zakelj is dealing with an elbow injury, Brett Toth has an undisclosed issue, and Vidarian Lowe remains sidelined by a high ankle sprain. Add those absences together and the search carries more weight. The offense needs players who can handle reps now without disrupting the group's development or leaving Purdy exposed when the competition gets tougher. My demand is simple. A championship contender does not wait for its line to collapse before looking for help. It evaluates early, pressures the backups, and keeps options ready. Kion Smith may address part of that need, but his arrival does not end the conversation. Kramer and Lecitus bring some experience. Michalski offers a developmental bet. The workout will decide whether any of them deserves a contract. On defense, William Bradley King reached an injury settlement with the club after being waived with an injury designation and placed on injured reserve. It is a separate move, but it reinforces the brutal reality of camp. The roster margin changes every day. John Lynch has to keep treating depth like a competitive weapon, because January punishes teams that scramble for protection too late. If the offensive line is creating pressure, the defensive line is giving us a legitimate reason to turn up the volume. Raheem Morris has already shown enthusiasm for Runardo Green and Jair Brown, 2 defensive backs playing in a system shaped by a coordinator who knows that position inside and out. But the name starting to command attention along the interior is rookie Grayson Halton. Morris described Halton as a feisty young player who operates at a high rate, moves fast, and keeps attacking. After missing a few days, he wanted back on the field and wanted a piece of everything. That hunger is showing up exactly where San Francisco needed to find explosiveness. Halton entered the draft known for his insane burst off the ball, his initial quickness, and his ability to shoot through a gap before the blocker can organize his feet. That is not camp decoration. It is a trait the interior pass rush lacked last year. Morris himself explained that the get-off, movement, and initial acceleration were among the qualities the 49ers coveted. The positive surprise came beyond those traits. The rookie has also shown sudden power and made interesting plays against the run. That widens his path. If he were only a third-down specialist, his role would be limited. By showing he can answer situational demands and survive more physical matchups, he is beginning to compete for snaps that can actually reshape the rotation. No fantasy here. Halton is still a rookie practicing in August. The projection has to survive the preseason, more coordinated blocking, and the wear of a real NFL game. But the fit is screaming. Alfred Collins brings strength against the run. CJ West can create pressure, yet Halton appears to have a different first gear. Rotating those bodies and presenting different threats could keep opposing lines from ever settling in. That is how Morris's defense can reclaim an aggressive identity. The interior does not have to wait for Nick Bosa to win by himself off the edge. It can collapse the pocket, destroy the quarterback's platform, and force protections to choose their poison. If Michael Williams returns and flourishes, that young core gains even more long-term upside. I would not hand Halton a decisive role because of practice praise. I would put him in uncomfortable situations and demand that he prove this controlled violence against opponents. The opportunity is open, and he has already made his coordinator take a second look. Now comes the part that separates a good camp story from a piece capable of changing the entire defensive front. Brock Purdy got the major contract and answered in the only acceptable way, by accelerating. No comfortable posture, no managing his reputation. On the 8th day of camp, according to Grant Cohn, the quarterback tore apart the starting defense while working with receivers such as Malik Turner and Kaderil Hodge. He threw 2 deep touchdowns, had no interceptions that day, and had been picked off only once throughout camp at that point. The source makes this hit even harder. Cohn rarely hands the 49ers free praise, yet he said he was watching the best camp of Purdy's career, driven by quick decisions, unprecedented confidence, and tight window throws. Purdy is not stacking easy numbers against backups. He is working through progressions and finding answers against the starting unit, despite a patched-together group of targets. Mike Evans is out with a quad injury, George Kittle is recovering from an Achilles issue, and multiple absences have stripped options from the offense. Deebo Samuel may be the top available target, but in Cohn's assessment, he has not created separation consistently. Purdy has to move through the progression and throw to players still fighting for roster spots. That is quarterback development, understanding the coverage and delivering the football wherever the play creates an advantage. But faithful, this is the part nobody should ignore. Purdy's brilliance is covering up 3 threats that could sabotage this leap when the games count: an unstable offensive line, a running game that has not shown up yet, and a receiver group battered by injuries. Cohn said it directly: San Francisco has to give its quarterback help before he ends up injured like last season. That demand does not diminish Purdy. It increases the responsibility carried by everyone around him. Great quarterbacks elevate lesser-known players, and Purdy is beginning to show that ability. Turning survival into a permanent plan, though, would be reckless. Mobility can rescue a broken protection. It can also expose the quarterback to contact and punishment. An offense asking him to compensate for everything is demanding too much from one player. That is the connection between the workout for those 3 offensive linemen and this performance. If Purdy is processing faster and attacking deep with confidence, the front office has an obligation to protect that evolution. Admiring the quarterback for beating chaos in August is not enough. The chaos cannot become the system in September. Purdy admits he still has room to grow, and that humility makes his response to the contract even more powerful. He is not acting like a finished product. He is using every rep to expand his command. The money confirmed the franchise's trust. The field is showing that he wants to justify it with authority. My read is aggressive. If this level carries over against outside competition, San Francisco will have a more dangerous quarterback than the one who has already taken this offense to major moments. The ceiling rises, so does the pressure. Shanahan has to restore balance on the ground, the receivers have to get healthy, and Lynch cannot play around with the protection. Purdy is doing his part. The entire roster now has to prove it will not waste the best camp of his career. The first test of that offensive depth could create a strange picture. 49ers uniforms running the ball repeatedly, with almost none of the expected names taking the carries. The banged-up backfield will likely leave the preseason opener to Khalil Herbert, Patrick Taylor, and Sincere McCormick. For them, it will be a ruthless fight for survival. Christian McCaffrey has no reason to absorb a meaningful workload during this stretch. His age, physical history, and accumulated volume make every unnecessary snap a risk with no reward. Jordan James is recovering from fractured ribs and will miss the opener. The question is whether he can play in any preseason game. Isaac Guerendo remains on the PUP list with no indication of an immediate return, and he may also go through August without touching the field. Kalen Black is the only one of the top 4 with a realistic chance to play, but he is coming back from an adductor injury. The 49ers want to give the rookie experience, yet the clock is moving. If he does not return to practice quickly, the staff must prepare without him. Even if cleared, he may get only 1 or 2 drives with Mac Jones before being protected. That pushes nearly all the work toward 3 players fighting for the final roster spots. Herbert arrived last week after being active for 7 games last season. Injuries opened a door that may not have existed when he signed. He must learn the offense quickly and prove he is more than an available body. Patrick Taylor has known this environment since 2024, although he has recorded only 39 regular season carries for the 49ers. Familiarity should help him in protection, reads, and execution, but time in the building does not reserve a seat. McCormick also had 39 carries in 2024 and remains the least likely of the three to force his way onto the roster. The preseason exists to wreck probabilities. One explosive run helps. Reliable pass protection might matter more. The fanbase temperature check is open. Which of these three backups deserves the first opportunity to grab that spot? Give me the name and the reason in the comments, because availability has become valuable currency in this battle. A bigger concern is hiding underneath it. McCaffrey should not carry the preseason, but somebody has to prove he can lighten the regular season load. James, Garendo, and Black sit higher in the projection, but health does not respect the depth chart. If Herbert, Taylor, or McCormick dominates these reps, the coaching staff will have to honor the performance instead of the original expectation. This battle defines a championship roster away from the headlines. The 49ers must preserve their star without weakening their rushing identity and learn who takes the field when the primary plan breaks. Whoever treats this chance like an exhibition will probably be looking for another job. Whoever blocks, protects the football, and earns hard yards could force Santa Clara to make room. This camp has put one demand in front of the 49ers: turn strong signals into real protection. Halton is attacking like a potential interior weapon. Purdy has raised his level after getting paid, and backups will get a chance to defend the rushing attack. But the injured offensive line remains the weak point that could contaminate everything. Contender-level talent demands contender-level depth. Faithful, let me know where you stand. Do you agree that protecting Purdy is the #1 priority right now? Or do you see a bigger problem? Answer in the comments, hit like, and stay with 49ers Express as we demand a team ready to dominate the NFC.